Welcome to another episode of One of Us Knows What They're Talking About, and the other one is you. I'm Lori Birch, your host. Join us as we discuss and unpack wills, trusts, estate planning, and probate law in a way that's actually informative, interesting, and, well, hopefully entertaining. Because if you don't have a will, the state of Texas has one for you. Let's dive in. How many subscribers or followers or whatever you call it do we have, Sarah?
Yeah.
Lori likes to call them fans.
It depends on the platform.
Fans.
I don't have a way to see everybody all at once.
Do we still have that one in South America?
Oh, we have more across the world. I know on Spotify we have like 25 followers, but like listeners each episode, it's around 30.
Hold on, what countries have we expanded to?
Oh, great question. I posted in Slack, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can you see who the listeners are?
No. Let me see. So we've expanded to Australia, India, hold on. There used to be an easier way to see this. Russia.
Oh.
Pakistan, Spain, Germany, the UK. What's that little guy? Oh, Russia again. Brazil, Canada.
Ooh.
And Russia again. Yeah.
Huh.
Shout out to our Russian fans.
Damn.
She keeps saying Russian.
Okay. So let's make this magic happen. Even though, for all I know, we're going to include everything that's happened. So we're going to do a part 2 with the esteemed Jaime Duggan, family law attorney in Texas extraordinaire, because there was just so much material to cover last time, and we wanted you back. So we're going to talk more about family law issues today, and an unexpected event from our last time together occurred, and that is apparently the whole Kirkland sweatpants conversation was a really big hit.
Of course it was.
And there was, we went viral on TikTok, the once in future TikTok. So that's interesting. Not really sure what to make of that, since it's none of the substantive legal things that we talk about, but Kirkland sweatpants. So maybe we should talk a little bit more about your sweatpants. But first, what pants are you wearing, if any, right now, Jamie?
Well, they're more like joggers and not Kirkland brand, but they were purchased at Costco.
Do you do all your clothes shopping at Costco? There's no judgment. I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, for like lounging sweats type clothes that you're just going to wear around the house, yes, they're really good price and they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
And every time I go to Costco, I definitely look at the clothing section.
What other articles of clothing do you have from Costco?
Socks, sweatshirts,
and toilet paper.
Yeah. I don't usually wear that, but sometimes it's back to your show.
What about when you have to go as a mummy for Halloween?
Yeah, then definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I will also admit this. different Costco's carry different things.
Yes.
And
As far as clothing.
and I mean everything. But
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, I know like they have regional stuff,
right.
like foods.
Yes. And even like within the Metroplex, sometimes have different things.
Different
Okay.
ones have different
Oh.
inventory.
Yeah.
So do you shop around?
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
I've got like a day, a shopping day. Like my most amount is 3 Costco's one day.
Oh.
Dang.
That would take a whole day.
Plano, Frisco.
Do you then have your meal at the free samples that the Costco? Is that when you say 3? Do you go what for 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening? So you get a 3-course meal or 3 meals a day?
No, I always try to go like first thing in the morning when they first open.
And those are the better free samples?
I don't know. I don't partake in the free samples.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Why not? That's the best part.
Is it?
I guess other than the clothing.
If no one's in line, then maybe I will get it. But I personally am not going to wait in line to get a free sample of something that might be pretty gross.
I always feel like I have to pretend that I am interested in possibly buying the product. And I mean, I don't know why we play this game, the charade, because they know and they don't care. They're getting their paycheck no matter what. But you'd be like, oh, this is on aisle 4. Okay, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, your family makes this. Oh, that's wonderful. Good for your family.
I don't
It's
care.
awkward. I don't want to do that.
I will just take the sample and be like, "Ooh, yum, thank you." Walk away.
Yeah.
I play the game that only one of us is playing. The other ones, yeah, they're just like whatever. I don't know.
They do that all day.
It's just how I feel about it. Yeah.
Also, I don't know why I'm sharing this voluntarily, but when I was in undergrad, I'm
Lean in.
college student, and there was a Costco like a mile from campus, and I would regularly go get pizza. They had like a window. You didn't have to go inside. You could go to the window, and it's like I don't know, $3 or something, and it's delicious.
The pizza at Costco is really good.
Legit.
Jamie, let me let you in on a little secret. Sam and I have been known to go to the Costco down the street for lunch.
We haven't done it in a while.
We haven't done it in a while, but it's right there.
And we get to people watch. And we get to people watch.
People. We get some very affordable pizza or hot dog, beverage.
Yeah.
No shame in that game.
Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Or like whenever you see people and you're like, you just have 5 containers of grapes in your cart and that's it. What are you doing with those?
It's our, should you have just gone to a Walmart?
Yeah, we like to do, okay, you could have gone to a Walmart. Okay, you could have gone to Target.
Because also, when's the last time you went into Costco to shop and only got what you were looking for?
Right.
If that happens
just
to you, then you're not doing it right. Yeah, because there's always something I didn't know I needed.
Yeah. I feel like Costco should be a sponsor at this point. Sarah, look into that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So as far as family law stuff, we hit a lot of topics. We can hit back at some of those topics. But I think the big ones that we left unexplored for the most part is one is second parent adoptions. So Jamie, regale us with what that is, how it originated, who should do it, and when should they do it? Because could it all go away?
That's a lot of questions, and I would be happy to answer them all for you. Well, let's start with first. A second parent adoption is not a actual legal term. So you're not going to find in the, Texas family code, something that says second parent adoption. So I know sometimes that is confusing for folks, because I'll have, talk to people who say that they talk to another attorney and they don't know what a second parent adoption is. That's not a thing. We don't call it that. So that is actually true. Second parent adoption is something, a term that we use in the community to define a certain type of case. And generally, the case is for parents who have a child using some type of assisted reproduction with their partner, spouse who is the same sex. So when that happens, regardless of whether or not the couple, the two parents, are married, the child needs to be adopted by one of the parties. This happens because each state defines how you become a legal parent in their state, and that's in the state's family code. So in Texas, one issue that we have in the LGBTQ community is that our family code speaks in gendered terms. So it says mother, father instead of parent, or husband, wife instead of spouse. So because of that, we get these separation in how you become a parent. So in the Texas Family Code, it says that you become a legal mother if you give birth, adopt, or have a judge declare that you are a mother. So that would necessitate a court case. So because those are the only ways, it doesn't say you become a legal mother if you're biologically related to the child. Doesn't say you become a legal mother if you are married and your wife gives birth. That's it. Give birth, adopt. And so for all same-sex couples who have children using assisted reproduction, they have to go through this process. Otherwise, they're not technically just on its own. When your child is born, you don't automatically become a legal parent. Doesn't matter if you're on the birth certificate. That doesn't give you legal rights. It doesn't say married, or it doesn't say give birth, adopt, or be on the birth certificate. So that doesn't make a difference. And just being married in and of itself also doesn't make a difference. You actually have to go through the steps to become a legal parent.
So question here, lots of questions, but when you say birth certificate, that's probably one of the biggest misperceptions that are out there. And the reason that a same-sex spouse, well, in this case, it would be a woman giving birth until we have other advancements. But the spouse, there's a presumption in Texas where they're the other parent. So just by default and ceremonially, they are added, the person they're married to is added to the birth certificate. And there's some very interesting cases where, let's say it's a female and male couple, and the man is deployed and overseas for 2 years, and the wife's lonely and ends up getting pregnant and giving birth. And then the husband comes home realizing he's got legal obligations to a child that he is not genetically, biologically, or maybe even emotionally connected to. So like that kind of scenario plays out. So, but
and that
one question.
Real quick, that happens because the family code says you become a legal father if you are married and your wife gives birth. So in that scenario, regardless of whether or not you are the actual biological father, that's why you're automatically
right. I mean, it's pretty nuanced, and I think not in current legal times, but I think one of the ways to possibly make headway on this would be to use a sex discrimination argument. Now, any current courts right now would not try that in, but that's really what in Texas, the scenario that Jamie's describing really is based on that. But what about, Jamie, because I actually think this is somewhat of the origin where people were doing the air quote second parent adoption, or this is where I'm heading, a step parent adoption.
Mm-hmm.
So what about, so take whether it's a same-sex couple or not out of the equation, when can a step parent adopt a child of their, let's say a legal or biological child of their partner or spouse? Like, I don't know if it makes a difference. Like, do they have to be married to do that?
Yes, they have to be married to be a step. So the process is actually the same legal process as we're doing for a second parent adoption, except that in a second parent adoption, you don't necessarily have to be married. So in order for someone to adopt as a step parent, the other parent's parental rights need to be terminated first. So a lot of times that happens in one case together. We terminate the parental rights of one person, and then the step parent steps in and adopts. But that also can happen separately. So certainly possible that folks have kids, and maybe it's the father's rights who are terminated at one point. Then the mother meets somebody else, they get married, that person wants to adopt, the termination's already done, and they can adopt. So the real legal requirement is for a step parent adoption is that you are married to the parent. The other parent's parental rights have been terminated.
So, Jamie, I have a question. What, I guess, hypothetically, if me and my husband used a surrogate, it's our genetic material, our child, but we used a surrogate, how would we go about getting rights to the child? Because I wouldn't have carried the child. Somebody else would have.
Yeah. Interesting, because I've kind of thought of trying this out for same-sex couples, but in that scenario, what you would do is file a suit as an intended parent. So you would have a specific gestational agreement with the surrogate, who, of course, the surrogate wouldn't have any biological relation to the child. You would then have that gestational agreement validated by a court before the baby arrives, and have a court order that says you are the intended parents. So then you have a court order that you go to the hospital with, and from the moment the child is born, you are the parents. Any sort of rights that would be afforded to any parent then are afforded to you at the time the child is born. So,
and we wouldn't have to go through an adoption process.
No,
that you're aware of.
Right.
Okay.
It is a court proceeding. There is still a court
proceeding of the validation of that agreement.
But it's not an adoption. It would,
yeah,
because technically the law sees it as though you are the parents. You're not adopting the child. You are the intended parents from the beginning.
And just to be clear, since we established earlier whether Sarah includes that in the actual podcast or not, our podcast is not just limited to Texas. It's not just limited to these United States. We are an international phenomenon, if you will. So one thing that I want to emphasize here is that more than even the estate planning and wills and trusts, even though that is very state specific, but way more than that, this is very, very, very different state to state. I can say in general, a will and descendancy is blah, 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 blah. And even though I'm only licensed in Texas, I'm not speaking for other states, with the exception of Louisiana, based off of French Napoleonic Code, I can say that's probably how every other state's going to see it. This is all over the map, like night and day different. So need to make sure that that's really, really impressed upon people, because it is such a big deal. But that's actually one of my questions that I'm going to get to in a second, Jamie. But I want to go ahead and use myself as an example because Jamie handled our second parent adoption. And so just to kind of give a real illustration or an example of what Jamie's talking about is my wife, Kimberly, and I did what's called reciprocal IVF. So I had my eggs frozen and then we had them inseminated with a donor sperm. And then instead of me doing the IVF process where they are then transferred to me and I give birth, hence legal mother, Kimberly did. And kind of to put a bow on some of the things we're talking about, one, because we went through a fertility clinic for the egg transfer, there's no paperwork that said I was an egg donor or anything like that because we went through a fertility clinic and all of that. Kimberly did not sign any sort of surrogacy paperwork or anything like that to give away her rights. But then because we went through a clinic, a donor clinic, I don't know why I'm blanking out on what. Yeah, cryobank, thank you. Then all the paperwork and legal relationships are taken care of through that process. So for the people, and I can't remember to what degree this came up the first time when we talked to Jamie, but for all the people that want to go the air quote cheap route of having their best friend do their thing and then you get the turkey baster and blah blah blah, like that, there's a lot of, well, Sarah, what if your best friend is good looking and really tall? I can tell you that's what the lesbians are looking for, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. Tell Sarah that's what they want. They want a tall, good-looking donor.
Yeah.
They figure they'll take care of the rest.
Breed more giants.
Yeah, well, right? I actually didn't have any selection in the donor, but that's a story for another day. But he is tall, and so that did work out in our favor.
Your children are giants.
But has crippling eczema. So thanks a lot, sir. Especially with my two, like they needed any more help having dry skin conditions. Thanks for introducing that into our little gene pool.
Well, no one's perfect, right?
Right. He is a genius, like it's in a book. So there is that. So think of the brain power in those two.
Yeah.
I mean the other ones as well. Oh boy. Edit this out, Sarah. Anyway, don't want to get in trouble with them, but I'm talking about the two specific ones because they were my biological children. And if you have met any of them, particularly Adley, that is painfully possibly obvious.
Yeah. And the little one looks like your mom, which is like,
she looks just like my mom.
Yeah, those genes are strong.
Pictures. Yeah, Kimberly will take pictures of her and text them to me and say, Jana Jr.
Oh, really, that's fun.
It's really adorable, actually. So anyway, so we had to go through that process with Jamie, just to be clear. So, but I was on the birth certificate, but we did that so I could be a legal parent. But the last thing I want to say before I really want Jamie to chime in on some of this is Jamie plays with the family code. We play with the estates code. In the estates code, they are considered my descendants, my heirs, my issue, because that's based on biology, by biological descent. So it's just fascinating and so messy that it works that way, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to do what we did. But I think the bigger question is, Jamie, because you and I have so much programming in our head that we know, like we have that understanding, but sometimes I think we presume people have an understanding. So what does it even matter to be a legal parent? Like in my situation where I just explained it, for estate purposes, they're mine, but I also have wills, trusts, guardianships. I have all that set up. What would it matter to a couple like Kimberly and I? For me, I'm on their birth certificate, right? Because we were married. Well, we still are. I mean, unless, the powers that be. We're only 2 days in. That'll be the executive order tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, so I'm on there. Who cares, Jamie? Like, why do I need that distinction from the state of Texas to say I'm their legal parent?
Yeah.
I'm their biological parent. I have all my estate planning paperwork. I'm on their birth certificate. What difference does it make?
Yeah. I think probably one of the biggest differences, this is the one that kind of keeps me up at night, the law treats you differently if you are a parent and if you are not a parent. So when you designate a guardian for your kids if something were to happen to you, most often, the judge grants that guardianship, right? But you have to go in front of a judge that will say, yes, you are the guardians. This is who they designated. Great. Most often, obviously, that's going to happen, but it doesn't have to happen like that. And so the piece of it that I think is particularly important for the LGBTQ community in Texas right now is that you're afforded different opportunities if you are a legal parent. If you are a legal parent, you're not going in front of a judge to be designated a guardian. You are the parent, period. There are different things, standards that CPS would have to prove in order to remove your kids from your home if you are a parent and a non-parent. So that level is extremely important. And I think that, that I get a lot of questions from people just like that. Why do we have to do this? And, the piece that you didn't put in there is that, Kimberly would never take the kids away from me. That would never happen to us. And
yes. No, she said she would if I ever cheated on her.
Oh, yes. Nice. See?
I was a witness to
she
that.
did say that.
She said, if you cheat on me, I'll
she
take
said
your baby.
She looked,
it was very
she looked me
menacing.
dead. Yes. Wait. Well, I'm going to let Cynthia, because we were talking over each other. You were there. She looked me dead in the face and she said, what?
She said, if you cheat on me, I will take your baby.
Yep.
It was, whenever she said it was, I remember turning towards her and being like, oh, okay, she's serious.
Yeah.
It was scary.
And then I said, well, define cheating. I'm kidding. I did not say that. But it's a fair question from a legal standpoint, not for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
sorry, Jamie.
And that's my segue. At least the education piece of it that I want to do for people is that we're not only doing this because Kimberly would never do that, because your wife would never take the kids away from you. It's because being designated as a legal parent gives you protections that you otherwise wouldn't have. And, especially when CPS has been directed to, do things that are scary for our community, that is really important.
Yeah, I think that is really important. I think, using a different example than Kimberly and I, because we're so stuck with each other, like there's no getting out. There's just none. But Jamie, you've seen this. You see this regularly. Mm-hmm. People who swear up and down, I would never do that, when the time comes. And we actually have attorneys in our community here in Dallas that will encourage their clients to play the gay card against each other when it comes to this. It does happen. Now, a happy side of that is we also have, because we share some couples in common for clients, but I also know, Jamie, you see the flip side of it where people are splitting up, but the legal mother still wants to allow the other one to adopt. And that's, what, props to you. Like really, really awesome that you do that, because you are honoring that relationship and you're honoring who and where we want to be as a community. But there's plenty who will play each other against each other. But I also think, and it's kind of an example with the guardianship, is that it can also cut through a lot of red tape, even if it will end up there eventually. If you're just able to say, yes, I'm a legal parent. Like I'm thinking about, we've applied for passports. We're applying to schools right now, going to a new doctor. Like there's no asterisk that I have to add. It's just, I'm the parent, you're the parent. This is parent one, this is parent two. This is mom one, this is mom two. This is mama, this is mom. All of that. So it can just help. But I think I want to revisit the guardianship piece here, because what Jamie is saying is that, well, first of all, there is a presumption that the other legal parent would be the guardian. There's no legal court process that has to go through for the other legal parent to be a guardian if the other parent dies. But if I had not done the second parent adoption, I would have had to go through a court process if Kimberly died. Like, and yes, there's probably not a chance in heck that the court would not have granted me that. But who the hell wants to risk that? And in a different type of family situation, if Kimberly had a different kind of family, which they exist, they're out there, who wanted to challenge that, they would be pretty much on equal footing with me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I wanted to mention that too, because when we started talking about this, there is that third way of becoming a legal mother, and that's having a court say that you are a mother. And so there are cases, there are, it does happen, right? The law also says that the ways that you can become a father are supposed to be applied to become a mother also. And so there's a longer list to become a father, things like biological relation, if you're married, even if you live in the same house with the child for the first 2 years and say they're your child, boof, they're your child. But in order to become a legal mother that way, you have to get a court order that says that is a thing. And so what Lori's talking about is you're trying to get a court order saying that you're a legal parent when you're in the middle of an emotional divorce, or you have to get a court order saying that you're a legal parent after your spouse has died. Like, nobody wants to be in that situation. And we do see, we handle divorce in our practice also. And so we see what happens in those situations where emotions are really high, and like Lori's saying, we don't represent folks biological parents who are trying to keep the child from the other parent, but that does happen. And so now you're spending tens of thousands of dollars fighting it out in court for the first piece. That is, we have to prove that you're a legal mother, and we have to get the court to say you are a legal mother before we start the regular part of the divorce, which is fighting over when you have time with them and who's making what rights and, decisions and those kinds of things. So that can't happen in the law. And that is the process that we take if we're, our clients end up in that situation, but nobody wants to do that.
Right. And I think the last thing I want to add on this particular point is, remember what we were talking about just not too long ago about the other state laws. So if you move to another state, or even if you're traveling and there's an accident in another state where they don't have second parent adoption, they don't recognize this. If you're in Mississippi, which, I don't know why you'd be Mississippi unless you're visiting Tupelo, the birthplace of the king of rock and roll, but then get the hell out, everybody. Or even Arkansas, which you have to go through Arkansas if you're going to drive to Memphis, the home of the king of rock and roll.
For Lori, all roads lead to Elvis.
All roads, yeah.
Are you trying to say you should fly?
Yeah. No, don't fly. It's actually beautiful country. Beautiful country. But at any rate, like that's another reason, is if you move to a different state, or I really even think just traveling to other states. Did we bring up in the last time we had you on adoption by estoppel? Does anybody remember if we talked about that?
I think we did.
First of all, this is very troubling that nobody seems to remember.
It was last year
to talk about.
We've slept a lot since then.
We remember the sweatpants though, but we don't remember talking about adoption by estoppel. Okay.
I had a whole bronchial episode. No.
I'm going to presume that we did. And if not, so Sarah, your job is to go back and see if we did. And if we did not, then we'll have Jamie on again just to talk about adoption by estoppel, because you can accidentally adopt children apparently, but not really.
Yes.
Crazy.
But according to an ad litem, you can. An ad litem attorney for determination of ownership case. Okay, so I think before we completely move on from adoption, what you might want to just don't get into the nuts and bolts, but I think going through like the overall process is interesting. And I think a key thing is when can you start it?
Oh, good.
Oh yeah.
You can start it as soon as you become pregnant. And for the, a lot of our clients, that's what they do. I would say, probably maybe end of the second trimester, beginning of third trimester is most commonly when people start, but you can start at any time you become pregnant. We can't finalize the case until your baby's born, but we can start. So then we have everything ready to go and ready to submit to the court as soon as your baby's born. And there's less in between time that you're not a legal parent. In general, we want to get the agreement of both parties, right? That's the easiest, best way to go about it. If you're having a baby together, hopefully that would be the time that you agree. The family code says that all adoption cases have to go through we call it an adoption evaluation done. Other folks call it a home study. So there's a requirement of what kinds of things the evaluator has to get from you: documents, information, family history, relationship history, a lot of fairly invasive kinds of things. You have to get a letter from your doctor.
It's very invasive. And some of the questions that are asked that are required about like your religious practices and how you're going to raise your child. And I think even like discipline, like how you handle discipline and if you agree upon that. And so for me, I get the whole, you're not biologically connected to the child. So yes. But for me, it was just kind of extra offensive, at least from my point of view, because I am their biological child. Mm-hmm. So I think, Jamie, didn't I like in every answer put, because I'm their biological child or as their biological parent, yes. I was like, of course, I care about their well-being.
And that's the thing about it.
It's so offensive. Some of the questions are offensive, but you just got to go through the hoops.
Yeah. So we have to have an evaluator appointed. They do the evaluation. Through the evaluation, you also, actually, it's kind of separate. So one good news, one piece of this that Lori and Kimberly didn't have when we did their second parent adoption, there was an update to the law in Texas in last January. So it's been about a year now. And it says that if you are married, then you can ask the court to waive the requirement of that adoption evaluation. So our law firm, which is a good reason to go with a law firm that has, does this often, so they kind of know how to navigate the system. But we do what we can to ensure that we're in front of judges that will allow us to waive that. Saves us time and money and stress and that ridiculous invasive part of it. So that's a possibility. It also requires the adoptive parent to go through a background check. So we have to get criminal history information from DPS and then also history of any interaction with CPS. So those things have to happen. Fun. That still has to happen regardless. So a lot of our clients again start the process as soon as they become pregnant, and we do that piece of it so we have that all ready to go, and then we can get the final order signed as soon as the child comes.
Yeah, and I know so family courts, they deal with so much of families being ripped apart, petty bickering, using kids as pawns. So I know that family law judges just love adoptions. They think it's so sweet and special. And I don't have much of a poker face. So when Jamie and I went in to just get the final stamp of approval, and this judge is just acting like, oh, what a momentous occasion for you. And I'm just like, these are my fucking kids.
Why do I have to do this?
Like, congratulations for what?
Yeah.
But it's fine. I get it. It just, it was hard to take that component out of it. The idea that, these two children that are already mine.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So finally a
lot of our clients feel the same way. I would say probably the majority of our clients feel the same way. And it's a necessary thing that has to happen. It's not necessarily a celebration like it would be in a traditional type adoption.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, I put a damper on that Judge's Day. Sorry. What would you say, just in current times and in light of recent political events, what would you say to the LGBTQ community, particularly because it's not really defined in statute, this could go away, right?
Yeah.
Easily.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, the Republican Party is in power in Texas, and their latest party platform, included that they want to make it so that same-sex folks cannot adopt. So, I don't know the likelihood of that's going to happen, when that's going to be in front of them, if they want to do that, if they are going to do that, but it is possible. And I think that's the part of it that folks really need to understand, that we can do this right now. We can file a second parent adoption right now and not have to jump through the hoops of all the other things. But the family code can be changed, right? All laws can be changed. So,
would it even have to be changed, Jamie? Couldn't judges just decide they're not going to grant him anymore? There's nothing in the family code that says
you have
necessarily. Yeah,
adoptions are completely within the judge's discretion. A lot of things in family law are. It's in whatever is in the child's best interest. And to that point, depending on the judge, we do have are starting to see a pretty huge difference in opinion. Even in the waiving the home study, we've got judges who say, basically, no, I'm not going to do it. You have to go through the whole home study thing. So in my 15 years of second parent adoptions, I have never personally had a judge say no to the adoption. But it's certainly becoming, possibility that there's just hoops that we have to jump through that may be different in different judges' courtrooms.
Okay. See, I already feel like we need to have Jamie back again, but let's see how quickly we can cover so kind of a switch, but it all interrelates, and that is name changes.
Mm-hmm.
And we dabble in the stuff. We won't do name changes for minors. We don't want to do that. And like kids under 18, not people who work in Pennsylvania.
We all thought you meant coal miners. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where I first went to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The children yearn for the mine.
Do they only mine in Pennsylvania?
No, I think a lot of it goes down in Pennsylvania.
Okay, all right, I'll believe you.
I love by the expression on our faces, you can tell which one of us are just like over Lori shit, but which one of us are like, I'm gonna humor her.
I just didn't know. It was a real learning time.
Good job. So first of all, have you experienced, to the degree we have, how there are so many people that don't actually know what their legal names are already? Do you have that? Is that just us?
I think that's too often.
No,
it happens.
We don't see that a lot.
It happens all the time, or they didn't know that their first and middle name were switched.
Like they've gone through life.
For real.
And they don't know. And then they ask, okay, what is your legal name? Is that what appears on your birth certificate or on your driver's license or something like that? And they're like, they don't match. I don't know how this happened. And we're like, okay.
I remember we had one estate planning client. I think she had like 6 or 7 AKAs like in her documents. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that one was because they were married.
In my head, I'm trying to think, like, why doesn't that happen to us? Because, folks who come in for a name change often know what their name is because they want it changed. But even if you're like getting married, do you, when you get a marriage license, do you have to show your birth certificate?
Yes.
You have to show something. Yeah, right? So wouldn't you know then?
Maybe that's when they're finding out.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. But it's a fairly regular occurrence. And it's shocking. Several times a year, I would say, we get cases like this.
Yes.
Wow.
And the really fun ones is after we've gone through the whole process of doing their whole estate planning documents and they've signed it, after they've signed it. That's when we really, there was one, this isn't the name. So I'm going to protect, well, if we don't say last names, it really doesn't matter, but I'm still going to protect the name. But let's just say, for example, it was, and I already have a thing against names that can be nicknames, Jennifer. And so she comes to us and says her name is Jenny. And so normally we're like, okay, Jenny, is that your legal name or is that just what you go by? No, it's my legal name. We ask a couple more times because, I mean, we realize it's Texas and people have legal names named Bobby. So male and female. So we get it, but it seemed off to us. But we asked so many times, comes in, signs their paperwork, not even a week later. Hey, you know what? My legal name's actually Jennifer. Other than changing the name, that is absolutely what happened.
Maybe you should start with that on the questionnaire. Do you know your legal name? What is it?
Well, we do have your legal name, and then we have what you go by. Because let me use Jennifer again. We had somebody come in, and they're like, "Hi, my name is Jennifer." And then later we find out that their legal name is actually just Jen. They purposefully gave themselves a longer name.
Interesting. Maybe they thought it was more professional.
Like,
I don't know.
Can you get on your driver's license? Does that have your legal name on it? Does it have
it should?
I believe so. Normally a more common one that is a little bit more understandable is middle names. And whether you're using middle names or middle initials. And then for women who decide to change their last name when they get married, and then do they slide their maiden name to their middle name? So take someone like that. And this is a little bit, so for people listening, we're not disparaging this scenario because this is more understandable. We're talking about people who flat out don't know what their names are. But in this situation where suddenly now you have, well, here's my name when I wasn't married, and now this is this property or this account, or I started working for this job, and this one, I don't know why they did this. I didn't pay attention, but they used my maiden name as my middle name, but I actually used my original middle name and so you end up in this labyrinth of names, which is one reason why one of my 5 rules is don't change your name. Your last name, your surname. Or your
surname.
Ma'am name. Oh no. Should we go there?
No. I mean, what is your surname?
What is your surname? So Jamie, you have to understand the context of this. I don't know why we get ourselves in these conversations. It's just who we are as a people.
You get us in these conversations. You do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's me. So surname, SUR name, surname. And I don't know why I asked somebody, like, do you know what that is? And I think everybody said they did, even Sarah.
Sarah?
But I was just wondering if people thought it was like surname, like SIR.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, Sarah, what would your surname be? And then we started asking, like, Grant Marcel, what would your ma'am name be? And so what, Sarah, what did I decide was your surname?
I think Axel? It's no. It started. It was like Diesel or something like that.
Diesel.
It was Diesel.
Am I right?
Which actually isn't a name at all.
I don't know what mine was.
What do you call it if it's gender neutral?
Name.
Yeah, just a name.
How do you know?
They name.
Okay, I like it.
They name. See, nice. Jamie, I guess you could go either way with what you've already got going on.
Yeah, Jaime.
What did I say my surname was? My surname.
Were you Axel?
I think I was Axel.
I think Colt.
Colt,
right?
Yeah.
Somebody was Axel.
Colt.
I don't remember who.
I think it was me. I had a weird one.
Okay, because Diesel and Colt are
not weird at all.
But Marcel said
you didn't like it.
Like he did. Marcel did not skip a beat at all. Marcel just said Marcella.
Yeah.
Like, all right. But I'm like, this is your opportunity. Like, reinvent yourself. Yeah. Don't be lazy. But So Jamie, tell us a little bit, like, are you dealing a lot with name changes? And
Yes. So I actually, again, with the education piece, right? A lot of, since we talk about this and do this and happens a lot in our practices, we often forget that people don't know what they don't know. So right now in Texas, yes, you can have your name changed, of course. You can also get an order having your gender marker corrected. We handle those types of cases, and that is possible today.
For now.
What? Go ahead.
I just said for now.
Oh, yeah, for now. Always for now. Also, at this moment, President Trump said we're going to only have 2 genders, but he controls federal law. So the states each decide, again, in their code, this issue. So as of right now, doesn't matter what Trump said, we can still do this. What we cannot do, so if you let's do this. If you change your name, you get a court order. You can take that court order to DPS and have your driver's license updated. Really in any state, wherever you were born, you can take that order and have your birth certificate amended. Your name will be changed on those documents. In Texas right now, what we can't do is if you have an order correcting your gender marker, you can't use that order to go and update your driver's license. Or if you were born in Texas, your birth certificate. You can for your name, not for the gender marker. I think that's at least an issue that has come up for us a couple times recently.
Wow. Okay. So Jamie, I don't want you to be concerned, because Sarah and Sam do have some more part 2, Ask the Expert segment questions for you. Last one though, because you've kind of interwoven this into your conversations, but really just as a basic high level overview, what should people look for in an attorney or a firm when they are looking to get divorced, adoptions, name changes, all the aforementioned things that you did?
Yeah. I think first you want an attorney who specifically handles the type of law that you're needing. So you wouldn't go to Birch Law for a DUI. You find an attorney who focuses only on that area of law. It's just so broad in the things that within each area of law, what you know and need to know. It's really, really difficult for an attorney to know all different types of law. So you really want to find someone specific. They'll know the court system better. They'll know, your judges better. So first you need an attorney who does only that. I would say if you are a member of the LGBTQ community, and this is something that's important to you, you want to have an attorney who has handled cases before for folks in the LGBTQ community. I think, even though things like divorce, are this process is same for all people, there's nuanced things that are really, really important. And if you don't have an attorney who understands that or has done that, or, a part of that is up on the law relating to LGBTQ issues, you're going to really be in a poor spot. And then I think lastly, you want an attorney who is willing to handle your case the way you want your case handled, not trying to, something we talked about earlier, because you can raise the issue that the other parent's not a legal parent. You don't want an attorney who's going to, talk you into that if that's not something that you want to do. There's no need for divorce and custody to be contentious if that's not where you want to start out. So really find an attorney who's going to move forward on your case with your agenda and not theirs.
So I have a question, JB, as someone who gets sucked into these, groups where they ask for referrals and everything. This is not, nobody asks for a bulldog estate planning attorney. So I don't even know what that means, like what that would look like. Maybe something for us to table and discuss another time.
Like,
but people want bulldog divorce attorneys.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean? And why do you want that, I think? So I think that people want, I guess, someone who's going to be in court and sort of like yelling or intimidation, I guess, of the other side. I guess that's what they're looking for. I want to know why you want that. Because I think what is more important to our firm and should be more important to people is the strategy behind it. So if you have an attorney who goes into court and is just like defiant on everything, arguing with the judge on everything, being a jerk to the other attorney and the other party, depending on what judge you have, that is going to work completely in the opposite of what you're actually trying to have happen. So hiring an attorney who cares more about strategy than intimidation or bulldogness. I don't know. Is it like you have to look like a bulldog? Is that what they're looking for? I don't know.
Well, there are some, but that's definitely going to eliminate you again.
You want an attorney. I mean, of course, if you're going to be in court, you want an attorney who's, savvy in court, has litigation experience, is, going to be able to advocate for you in court. But having loud, mean jerk.
I think what some people feel like it's somebody who has a presence in a courtroom. And I feel like there's a lot of really good attorneys that don't appear as if they do, but they have an amazing presence in the courtroom once they're in there. There's a big misconception that's like attorneys are performers. They have to be, especially if you litigate.
I think part of it is, for people who've been through a divorce, they will understand this better. They want someone who is going to push them against the wall, that is just going to not let them play any games or manipulation, because I'm done with that. I'm over it. They're not going to get away with it anymore, and is basically it's a vengeful thing or a petty thing where they want to make sure that they've got someone who's just going to go after their ex. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I guess if that is the goal, then everyone's on the same page and okay, great. That's what I want you to do. But if you're not asking for that kind of approach is going to end up costing you lots and lots of money that you wouldn't have to spend otherwise. That's why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
well, I think we've exhausted everything we want to talk to you about, Jamie, so we're never going to have you back on.
Okay.
Oh, just kidding. No, I think we definitely we could go on and on.
Sarah in a minute saying you're available.
We want you back for more. But before we completely sign off, if you have a few moments to spare, we do have a few more Ask the Expert questions from Sam and Sarah. I'm going to assume that they've already established who's going to start.
Yes.
I think I know who's going to start.
All right, then let's go.
I'm the expert, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is part 2 of Are These More Good Reasons to Get Divorced? So the first one, they watched episodes of the show you were watching together, but without you, and pretended like they didn't, but they clearly did, as they didn't react to the episodes as they should have.
Yeah, definitely divorce.
Okay, nice.
Cool, noted.
Even if they didn't lie about it, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. What about if they didn't comment on the mixtape that you spent hours and hours and hours on making for them?
Like they didn't acknowledge that you made it?
Yeah, they just didn't say anything about it.
What if they don't have a tape player?
Okay, well, what if it's a Spotify playlist?
Okay. Yeah, definitely divorce. That's pretty important. That takes a long
just
time.
Spoiler alert, Jamie's going to say everything is grounds for divorce. But that's fine. Keep going with your little charade.
Come on.
What about if they forget your half birthday?
Oh yeah, no.
No.
But I'm not about the birthday thing. You get one day, you don't get a week, you don't get a month, whatever. It's one day. So
Yeah, what's with these birthday month people?
yeah, I'm not on board with that.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
Right? Yeah. At least you get one day. Jeez. But maybe they should divorce you for wanting to celebrate your happy birthday.
Oh,
I agree with that.
Now the tables are turned.
Whoa.
Fair. Okay. What if they say they don't care what's for dinner, and then when you propose an option, they say, "No, that doesn't sound very good," and then that happens for 30 minutes back and forth?
No, divorce. Like it shouldn't even be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes, done. Back.
So, have you all seen that video where this guy's like, he figured out this hack for his girlfriend who never knows where she wants to eat? So she gets in the car and he says, "All right, you'll never guess where I want to go for dinner. You'll never ever guess." And so she's like, so and so. And he's like, "Yes, that's it. We're going right now." And he tricked her into making a decision on where to eat.
Nice. Does that
Smart.
happen more than once? Like, can you use that again?
I don't know.
See,
But
that would never
one
work
is at
with my
least once.
spouse because he always wants pizza, and I never want pizza.
Mm,
Always.
I don't.
You also don't ever know what you want. Don't ever not know what you want.
That's fair.
Me?
Okay. Next.
Cynthia.
Okay,
You
so
also.
what if they steal all the blankets during the night and just don't put them back?
Divorce. Definitely divorce. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
What if they don't support
Wait. I want to make sure there is no talking over for this one. All right, Sarah, go.
What if they don't support your dreams of becoming a DJ?
Oh. I think, music is really important. We're back to the Spotify playlist. Yeah. If they don't support that, then how are you going to achieve your dreams with having them holding you back? No, divorce.
Oh,
You're so right. Yeah.
okay. And then
And
the
the
final
last one.
Hold on. Do you have another source of income?
No.
Again, another one where the other person has grounds for divorce.
Yes.
Maybe keep them around for a minute.
What if your spouse who has a good job, high-paid job, wants to quit that and become a DJ? Would that be a reason to get divorced, Jamie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Okay, and then finally, what if I have adopted my spouse's kids, right? But I don't like them because they keep stealing my things, like my shoelaces.
The problem here is that adoption is irreversible. So even if you divorced them, you'd still be responsible for these little jerks.
Yeah.
So you may as well stay together.
I think a better thing to do than stealing your shoelaces would be to tie them together.
Oh, I do that all the time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Maybe do it back to them and see how they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can forfeit your parental rights if you are a biological or legal parent, but you can't if you're an adoptive parent.
You can, but you still need to have a judge say, okay, you can terminate your parental rights.
I feel like
And
that'd
not
be
for
a
them
good
stealing
reason.
your shoelaces.
Over shoelaces?
I think the
Maybe they
judge would
steal more.
understand.
Maybe they're kleptomaniacs.
That's a whole parent-child relationship changing. No.
Sometimes also maybe you could still be ordered to pay child support.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I don't know, might be worth it.
Listen, Sam, if
And
you
just
are capable of
because
adopting this kid, you better commit.
True.
well, she doesn't have a spouse, let alone a spouse with kids.
Hypothetically-
But that's fine.
adopt.
Well, this is a hypothetical situation.
Yes. But everybody just know that if you sever your parental rights through one way or another, that doesn't eliminate them from being an heir to your estate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get your will, get your trust, get yourself protected.
Man,
All right.
kids really
Well, thank
complicate
you.
your life.
They do.
Yeah, but then you have someone to give your shit to.
That's
so,
right.
Oh, I have a tread for that.
Well, then you have
it's
someone
also nice when you're like they clean the litter box, they bring you drinks from the fridge.
They say funny things. They're cute.
They say
They call you mom.
they say funny things.
They do
The
call you
way-
mom
Well,
on
not
stinky
me.
pants.
The way Poppy rips open that fridge is so funny.
I
They're,
didn't.
like,
Yeah, I
4
guess you all haven't
times.
seen that, but she like does the whole "What's in here for me?"
She did it in the morning
I-
meeting, and
Yeah,
it was
she
like,
did it
whoa.
like 4 or 5 times this
want
morning.
yogurt. I want yogurt. I want milk. I
The
want
best part-
strawberries.
The best part was the sun was shining, so you couldn't really see her. You just saw like her pigtails like bouncing, and then you just see the doors get like shoved open so aggressively.
Has she
It's-
tried climbing in the
That's
fridge
what I
yet?
want.
Because she climbs on other surfaces.
And she was naked because she's going through a naked phase. So
Nikki
the minute
baby.
she gets home, she's ripping it off. It started with just the shirt. Now it's the shirt and the pants.
I mean, if you're at home, that's kind of fair
Live
game.
free.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, Jamie, thank you again for joining us again.
You all so much fun. I love being
And
here.
I do one last thing. And we don't have to include this, Sarah.
Yes, I'll take you to Costco with me.
What do you think of our newest tagline of give your loved ones the long-lasting, fantastic, legacy-lasting gift of estate planning?
It's way better than the crap you have now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But no one will
The
remember
long-
it. So there's that.
The long-lasting,
Yeah.
fantastic, legacy-lasting gift of estate plan. Is that what it is, Sam?
Yeah, and then every time we say it, we're going to add another word.
Perfect.
Right. Thanks for listening. And just to cover all our bases about what you just heard, I'm sorry and you're welcome. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And tell your friends about us. We do webinars and live events. The best way to stay up to date is to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Links are in the show notes. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover, maybe you have a question you'd like us to answer, or maybe you just want to say hi, hit the link in the show notes or go to birch-law.com/podcast and fill out the contact form.
Much better.
Yeah, I thought that had a lot of energy.